readers, welcome back to Camp Read a Lot, the place where we read books, sing songs, and keep the learning going all summer long. My name is Miss Lara. Can you tell me your name? Ooh, I heard a couple of your names. Hello, good morning. Shall we start our morning off with our song? Hey, let me get Miss Maria ready. Want to say hello? Here we go. Good morning, it's a sunshine kind of day. Come join Miss Lara for some learning and some play. Will we sing a song? Of course we will. Make our brains strong, like super strong. So come along. Yes, come on, friends, for some learning and some play. All right, Miss Maria, are you ready to be put away? Let's figure out what we're going to do with our day. So today we're going to worry and talk a little bit about worrying, and our book is going to be all about how to handle when you feel worried. I'm going to give you some clues to see what it's about. And then we're going to watch a video about our book and work on our foundational skills, which is retelling a story. And then we're going to move on to our project place where we're going to use circles and paint to recreate the character in our story. Does that sound like a good plan? Okay, so right now I think I hear Miss Maria dropping off some mail. There it is. All right, let's see what our mail says. Now remember, when we start to read, we start on what side? The left, of course. Remember, this is the left, this is the right. When we read, we start on the left, we slide to the right. Let's see what it says today. Dear Miss Lara, have I got a story for you? Yay, I love stories. Have you ever felt worried? Worried. Have you heard that word before? Worried is a feeling that you get when you're a little bit nervous about something that's coming up. You might feel a little queasy, you might feel sick, you might get hot. I felt worried before. Well, I worry about everything. Too much worry. Can you help? Love, Wimberly. Now we're going to meet Wimberly a little later on, but I think I can help. Whenever I feel worried, I always like to read a book, and I think Miss Maria left one here about a weasel that's a little worried, just like our character Wimberly that we'll meet in just a bit. Weasel is worried. Now let's look at the front cover. Weasel is wearing a scarf and all the wind is blowing around him. I wonder what the book is going to be about. This book is by Ciara Gavin and it's illustrated by Tim Warnes. Remember, the author, Ciara Gavin, wrote the words, and the illustrator, Tim Warnes, he drew the pictures. So let's read about Weasel and his worry. Here's the first page. Weasel was minding his own business, out collecting leaves, when suddenly the weather changed. Oh, I can tell because there's big gray clouds. Wonder what kind of weather it's going to be. He was soaked through by a nasty rain. Then a gust of wind whoosh, knocked him flat on his bottom. Weasel stood up and puffed out his chest. That's enough of this nonsense, he told the sky. But just then the skies opened up and he was pelted by a mighty hail shower. Weasel was starting to feel very small and defenseless against this angry storm. So it's raining and there's hail. Oh no. He built a wall to keep himself safe, but the wind blew and whirled around all night long. So he built the wall higher. But then the rain came back and wouldn't take no for an answer. Have you ever tried to stop the rain? It's quite impossible, isn't it? So Weasel added a roof. Keep out, he said, feeling very satisfied. Weasel settled down in his new safe place. He thought of the storm raging outside and it made him shiver. Can you shiver? When you shiver, you go like this, you shake your body. The days passed and Weasel got used to being by himself. But one day he turned around and was alarmed to find Mole sitting on his couch. Oh, there's Mole. What is this place? Asked Mole. It is a fort, said Weasel nervously. Oh, marvelous, nodded Mole. I love a good fort. You guard this side, and I'll guard that one. No, said Weasel. It's not for playing in. It's a home. Marvelous, yawned Mole, getting comfortable. How about a snack? No, fretted Weasel. It's not a place for visitors. It's a place to hide. Marvelous, said Mole. You count to 10, and I'll hide. No peeking. Oh, no. Mole is not taking the hint, is he? No, 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 insisted Weasel. It's not for games. It's for keeping me safe. Mole got a little scared and said, Who's after you? Is it a fox? I'll help scare him away. Look at my scary face. No, groaned Weasel. I'm hiding from the storm and there isn't room for both of us. Well, what's the fun in that? Replied Mole. It's not meant to be fun, cried Weasel. Just safe. Well, what's wrong with a good storm anyway? Added Mole, placing a hand on Weasel's shoulder. Weasel told Mole about the wind and the rain and the damp and the chill, the snow and the hail, all the things that scared him the most. The storm is scary, said Weasel, and much, much bigger than me. I see, said Mole gently, but storms can be a lot of fun too. Whenever it snows, I love to scoop it up and make a snowman. And the wind? Questioned Weasel. It knocks you off your feet. Oh, I love when that happens, beamed Mole. The wind lifts my fur and it feels ticklish. With a giggle, he twirled and fell over laughing. So the Mole is having fun in the storm while the Weasel is worried about the storm. But the cold rain, Mole, continued Weasel. What do you do when you get caught in that? Why, splash around in the biggest, bestest puddles I can find, replied Mole. Then I sit in a chair by the fire and dry off with a cup of hot soup. Soup always tastes extra wonderful when you've been out in the rain. Mole had such a different way of seeing things. But Mole, said Weasel, what do you do when you're afraid to face something? Oh, Mole said, I face it with a friend. And with that, he held out his hand. Weasel took Mole's hand, and together they walked out into the warm, sunny day. The end. So what did you think of that story, boys and girls? The Mole and the Weasel found friendship, and that helped the Weasel feel better with his worry. Now, I have a book for you that I'm going to share a video puppet story of. Now, I want you to use these clues to try to guess what it's about. The first clue is a letter clue, and we're going to make this letter with some big lines. So we're starting at the top. We're going to go down and down again and up and one more. What letter have I made? The letter W. Could be for Weasel. And then I have this. Oh, this is what I use to help me breathe when I'm feeling really stressed and nervous. What kind of book could involve this? And then a stuffy. Oh, what would that have to do with that book? I wonder. Let's see, what book is it? It's Wimberly Worried. So let's watch our puppet story together so that we can learn about Wimberly, who wrote our letter. Let's watch.
It
Story time. Wimberly Worried by Kevin Hankis, retold by Miss Lara. Wimberly worried about everything. She worried about big things like making sure her parents were safe when they were asleep. She worried about little things like when she accidentally spilled grape juice. And she worried about things in between, like when she was in the bathtub and thought, "Mama, what if I shrink?" Wimberly worried in the morning. She worried at night. And she worried throughout the day. "You worry too much," said her mother. "When you worry, I worry," said her father. And when her grandmother came over, she said, "Worry, worry, worry. Too much worry." Wimberly always worried about her doll Petal. When Wimberly was especially worried, she rubbed Petal's ears. Wimberly worried that if she didn't stop worrying, Petal would have no ears left at all. "Don't worry," said her mother. "Don't worry," said her father. But Wimberly worried. She worried and worried and worried. On her birthday, Wimberly worried that nobody would show up to her party. But when her friends showed up, she then started to worry that she wouldn't have enough cake. Soon, Wimberly had a new worry: school. Wimberly worried more about school than anything she had ever worried about before. Wimberly had a long list of worries. What if no one else brings a doll, or the teacher is mean? What if the room smells bad, or they make fun of my name? What if I can't find the bathroom, or I hate the snack? What if I have to cry? "Don't worry," said her mother. "Don't worry," said her father. But Wimberly worried. She worried and worried and worried. One day, Wimberly met somebody new. Her name was Jewel. She was standing by herself and was holding a doll. At first, Wimberly and Jewel just looked at each other. "This is Petal," said Wimberly. "This is Niblet," said Jewel. "Hi," said Petal. "Hi," said Niblet. "I rub her ears," said Wimberly. "I rub her nose," said Jewel. Throughout the morning, Wimberly and Jewel sat side by side and played together whenever they could. Petal and Niblet sat side by side too. Wimberly worried, but no more than usual, and sometimes even less. Before Wimberly knew it, it was time to go home. "Come back tomorrow," Jewel said. Wimberly turned and smiled. "I will," she said. "Don't worry." The end. I hope that you enjoyed that book, boys and girls. Wimberly Worried can be found at your local library and on the Sora app. Don't forget to check it out. Now, I love sharing books with you, but my goal is to get you to read books on your own. So one way that I do that is focus on a few foundational skills. This one is reading comprehension, where we retell the story using pictures, of course. So here are our pictures. Do you remember what happened first in our story? There was a little girl named Wimberly, actually a little mouse, and she had a little stuffy named Petal that helped her because she worried all the time, in the morning, in the afternoon, at night. Worry, worry, worry. And her parents and her grandmother would tell her, "Don't worry." But did she listen? No, she couldn't help it. She just worried all the time. In fact, when she had a birthday party, even though everybody showed up, she still worried, will there be enough cake? And the thing that worried her the most was going to school. And maybe that's something that worries you too. But she found that going to school was a good thing. She met a friend named Jewel who also had a stuffy named Niblet. And together they played and had fun in school. And in the end, they were friends. Just like our story about the weasel and the mole. Having a friend can help you when you worry. Now let's go over to our project place where we're going to make the character Wimberly worried and maybe write about something that worries us. All right, let's walk over. So here is what we're going to make together. Now we might not get to finish it, but here's where we're going to end up. We're going to make some circles just like our book cover, and then we're going to make our character Wimberly, and we're going to end with some writing that says, I worry when. And then you can try to write here. Now for this project, you'll need some paper, some glue, and some scissors, watercolors, and water. And really, you can use anything that you have around the house. If you don't have paint, you can actually use crayons. Now, I thought what would make this activity really fun is, of course, we could just draw circles, but let's make it a problem-solving activity to develop our critical thinking skills where we're really using our brain. It's a muscle after all. We're going to make some circles, but we're going to make a bigger circle, then a smaller circle, a smaller circle, a smaller circle, what we call concentric circles. So I thought, here's your challenge. Gather things around your house that are circles and that fit inside of each other. So the first thing I gathered was this plate. Do you see it's a circle? It doesn't have any edges. Then you're going to place it flat on your piece of paper and you're going to trace around it like this. All right, there's our first circle. Oop, all the way around, Miss Lara. There you go. I'll show you in just a minute here. Okay, largest circle, at least I think it's the largest. Now I'm going to need one that fits inside here. I think I'll try this one. It's a bowl, and I figured, well, it's a circle and it's round enough, so I'll put it inside and do the same thing where I'm going to trace it. Now you might find some circles that don't fit on your paper. That's okay, just trace what fits on there. You can paint that as well, which is what we're going to do. Okay, here's our second one. Could we make more circles fit? Ooh, I wonder. Let's try this one. I got this off of my sugar canister. It's a sugar lid. I think it fits right inside there. Now this is a really good activity for developing your, like I said, critical thinking skills, because children not only have to think about, circles and finding and matching the shape, but they also have to think about bigger and smaller. Lots of different things and activities going on with this one simple project. I have another lid here, little snap lid that I found. And then, should I do one little tiny circle in the middle? Okay, let's try that. Little pink lid that I found. Again, you can use spaghetti jar lids, anything that you have laying around the house. And really, I probably could have gone a little bit smaller, but we'll stop here for now. Let's count how many circles I was able to find. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I found 5 circles. Can you find more around your house? So our next step is we're actually going to paint each circle a different color. If you'll notice, if you check out the book, in the front cover of Wimberly Worried, there's circles all around, and I think it's supposed to represent worry and anxiety. So here I have my watercolors. I'm going to dip my paintbrush in a little bit of water, and I'm going to pick a color. Ooh, which one should I pick? Ooh, I'll pick orange. I like orange. A warm color. Then I'll just start painting it up. Let's see, going all around, all around, all around. And it might take you a little while. And of course, if you don't want to use paints, you can use all kinds of things. You can use crayons. You could leave them white. That's okay too. You can use markers. You can even use a little bit of food coloring. Just be very careful with what you wear because it does stain. I have ruined many shirts playing with food coloring, but you know me, I like to get messy. How about you? You like to get messy too? Here we go. I'm going to show you how I paint this one around, and maybe we'll do one more, and then I'll go on to the next step here. Okay, we'll do one more, maybe the smallest one after this. Now what color should I choose? I have orange. What's your favorite color? Hurry, yell it to me, see if I can guess. Ooh, somebody said purple. Okay, purple. We'll do purple right in the middle. So you can see how you can paint all of your circles round and round until you have a big colorful mass here. Now, as a bonus tip, painting these circles is a very calming activity. So if you do feel worried, having a project like this will help calm you down. Next thing we're going to do, and I know it's a little wet, you're going to wait until it dries, okay? We're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut around our circle. Going around and around. I'm using my helper hand to hold the paper steady. Otherwise, the paper would be super wobbly and all over the place. We don't want that. Boo to that. Save the scraps for later. You know I love to use my scraps. Now, I decided that I wanted to put my circle and my character on a piece of black paper. Using black paper just helps things stick out. So I'm going to take my glue. Here we go. And I'm going to glue it down. Again, you're going to wait until yours is dry. But mine is dry enough. And I'll finish it when I can. So here, it's starting to look a little like this, isn't it? Here we go. The next thing we need to do is make our character. Now, Wimberly is a mouse, and she has a face that kind of looks like a bicycle seat, huh? It's kind of oval and long. So we're going to cut that out here with some white paper. All right, let's put you down here, and we're going to begin to cut our bicycle-shaped face here, bicycle seat-shaped face. All around, all around. Now you can trace it if you want first. I'm just going to cut it here. Now the next thing that she has are 2 ears. That's right. So I'm going to use my method for cutting out 2 things at once. Cut out a strip of paper like this, and then cut it in half, meaning in 2 pieces. And then we will cut. Cut, 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 and we have, ta-da, 2 ears like this. Now her ears go on top of her head. They don't go on the side of her head like our ears, huh? All right, so I'm going to put 1 ear here, and then 1 ear here. And I think we'll have just enough time to finish her, which I'm very excited about. And then we need to add the details. Of course, the details are what bring the character to life, aren't they? All right, let's look here. I know I have some pink paper. I saw you, pink paper. Don't try to run. Here you are. I'm going to have a little nose on the side here. Just cut a little oval. Quick, quick, quick. Just like that, and I'm going to put it at the bottom of her bicycle seat head. I hope she doesn't get offended. I'm calling her head a bicycle seat. And then I'm going to cut out the 2 pink kind of inner parts of her ear. That'll make it look more like a mouse. All right, here goes that. And 1 and 2. Here we go. Almost there. What does she need? Some eyes. Let's get those done really quickly here. Let's see. She has kind of a worried expression to her, like this, or her eyebrows go like this. Here. And I'll give you a quick little tip to make everything look really clean and done. You're going to outline it in black. And that just makes everything look really crisp. See? All right, boys and girls, after you're all done, you're going to glue it onto your circle so that it looks like this. And when you're done, you can either add a strip of plain white paper, or if you have access to a printer, you can print out the words, I worry when, and then write your sentence. You can then hang this in your room as a reminder of reading Wimberly Worried, or the Weasel and the Mole book too. Looks like it's almost time for us to come to an end with our day. Let me tell you what we're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to read the book Wimberly Worried live here for you, boys and girls. So if you have a copy, bring it so you can read with me. We're also going to make a worry box. Have you ever heard of a worry box? It's a place where you put all your worries and then forget about them. So hopefully you join me for a worry box and more books. Until then, Miss Lara sends you a big squeeze and a big smooch and reminds you to read and to play, to be a scientist and use your imagination every day. Goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow.